All right. So hello, everyone. My name is Becky with Scott Leroy Marketing. And today we are going to be doing our database overview class. So we are going to be walking you through your command database, how to import contacts, how to add them individually, and all of the different things you can do within your contacts applet. So we're going to jump into that. Before we do get started, though, a couple things. First of all, if you are here with me live, if you have any questions as we go through, please drop them in the chat as you have that question. That way you don't forget your question. But I will get to those as soon as I can. If it's something that I can answer quickly in the moment, I will go ahead and answer that when I see that question come through. Otherwise, I will save time at the very end to make sure I get through all of the questions. Kind of depends on how in-depth the question is or whether it's something that I'm currently walking through, but I will definitely make sure to get to those questions at the very end of class. So if I don't answer your question right away, I am not ignoring you, I promise. I just might have to save it for the end for the sake of timing to get through the class. So if you're watching this back on recording and you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us via email. Our support email is support@scottleroymarketing.com. I'm going to drop that email address in the chat for everyone here with me live as well. You can also feel free to email us with any questions you have. Today's class recording will be available on our YouTube channel within about 24 hours. Dropping the link to our YouTube channel here in the chat. When you are on our YouTube channel, we do always recommend that you look for our most recent video. Things are always changing with command and the services that we offer here at Scott Leroy Marketing. So we do just always recommend that when you are searching for videos, that you are looking for the most recent videos. The easiest way to do that is going to be using this videos tab right here. It's going to list those videos in reverse chronological order. So the most recent video will be at the top and they will get older the further down you scroll. So just go ahead and look there. That's going to be the best way to find it. If you do use this search feature right here, then we can search for today's class as an example. Give me a second to load here. You'll see that when you search, they don't always pull in order from recent to most recent to least recent. So just keep an eye on those dates. For example, the first one that pulls up here is 4 months ago, 2 months ago, and then our most recent one is 3 weeks ago. So you'll just want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on those dates and you are finding the most recent video that you can find. If you are not sure whether you have the most recent video or not, you can't find a video that seems up to date, you can always feel free to email us. Our email, again, is support@scottleroymarketing.com. We're more than happy to provide you with updated guidance on that, whether we have a new video for it or are working on that. We'll be happy to help get that updated for you. So without further ado, we're going to jump back over to our command. And we're going to actually start, first of all, we'll go to our command database. So it's going to be our contacts applet. The applets menu is on the left-hand side. It's this sidebar right here. If you are not familiar with each of the applets within command, you can either hover over each applet and it will tell you the name of the applet, or you can click this red square with the white KW in it and it will expand that whole menu for you. That way you can have a good idea of what you're looking at and give you an easier way to find those. So we're going to go to the contacts applet today. If you do not have that expanded, it's going to be the square with the person inside of it or the second icon down. So we're going to start off with how would you get contacts into your database. So we're going to go through importing and adding contacts, and then we'll kind of cover what you're seeing right here. That way, you have to have those contacts in there before you're able to do most of the things in here. So we'll start out with how to get them actually into your database. So the first and easiest option is going to be to import those contacts as a whole. So there's a couple of different options when it comes to importing contacts. You can either use this template that they provide right here, or you can use your own custom file. The template is going to be the easiest and most accurate in the long run. The custom file, while it may be a little easier up front, it's going to take more time as you go through to import, and it's not always as accurate. And we'll kind of walk through how to do both of those and why they might be more accurate or less accurate. But we'll start at looking with this template right here. I do already have it pulled up over here. So another thing, all of the files do have to be in CSV format when you are uploading them. So it's a .csv. Long form would be commas separated value, I believe is the name of it. So either way, whatever you would refer to it as, generally a CSV is what most people would refer to it as. Now I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I have mine in Google Sheets over here. You can do it in Excel or whatever your spreadsheet file type is, or whatever your provider is there. You're more than welcome to use whatever you have. I'm just doing Google Sheets just because it tends to be a little easier with the apps I have on my computer. So I'm going with Google Sheets today, but a lot of this is going to be the same as it would be for any other type of provider. So you're going to go ahead and you are going to enter in. You'll want to fill out these fields here. The only required field is a first name. So as you are importing, you don't have to fill out all of the rest of them, but a first name is a required field. When you are using the import template, you want to be absolutely certain that you are not adjusting either of these first two rows. Don't edit any of the information there. Don't move anything around. Those two rows do have to stay exactly the same for this import to go through properly, for this template to work properly. So you just want to make sure that you have those, you don't leave those, or you don't touch those, you leave those how they are. And then you'll be able to go through and fill out the information here. So we have our first name, we have our middle name, last name. So you can fill this out. Again, first name is the only required field. If you only have the last name for a contact, but you don't want to put their last name as the first name, one option we do recommend for that is we generally put the word neighbor in the first name field, and then we can add our last name here. That way we can go through later on as we get their first name and we can just search for neighbor, and then we can update it as we have that information. So we tend to put the placeholder neighbor right here. I do see someone in the chat asked, where do you find the template? Missed it. No problem. If you go back to your contacts applet in command, it's going to be that square with a person inside of it. If you click import contacts right here, this download template button right here is going to download that CSV file for you. And then you can just add in the information into there. So you'll go through and you'll fill this out with all of that information as you have it. Birthdays and home anniversaries, you'll want to add those in if you have them. One thing to note is that with the number format for your birthday or the home anniversary, or even like the phone numbers, those don't have to be in a specific, they don't have to use dashes instead of slashes or dots or anything like that. You could enter all of the above. So if I were to do, let's see, we'll just do the same date there. That way we can look at that. You can do dots, you can do dashes, you can do slashes, however you want to enter those dates. Command will automatically translate that into a date as long as you have the number format or the numbers in there. So it will automatically update that for you. Same with home anniversary. Same thing actually with your phone numbers as well. You don't have to include parentheses, but you can dashes, dots, anything like that. It's going to automatically add it in. So we would be able to just enter the phone number. It won't import a fake number. So it would recognize that one as a fake number. So I would fail to import that contact if I entered that in there. But as you go through and enter those phone numbers right here, so we can say, we'll say that's our fake number, so we can enter it in. We can just enter the plain numbers, or we can add dashes. But as we go through and we fill this out, you do want to make sure that one number is marked as primary. So if this is our primary phone number, we're just going to put a capital Y right here. If home phone number were primary, we would take that out and we would add the primary next to one. Only one phone number can be marked as primary per contact. So it's up to you on which one is the primary contact number, but one of them needs to be marked as primary and only one of them. So as you go through, you can fill out all these other fields here. So there's options for multiple phone numbers. So mobile phone, home phone, work phone. So you'll be able to go through other phone. They have all of those. And then they have email addresses, and it's going to be the same thing here. One of them needs to be marked as primary, but you can only mark one of them as primary. So if you entered in that we would be able to say, yes, this one's our primary email. And our work, we could enter the work email as well. It will import that. We just wouldn't want to mark it as primary. And then we get to our addresses right here. So you can add the primary address. That one is just automatically set as the primary. And then you'll go through, fill out that information. For example, we'll go Main Street. And then if we were to enter a zip code with a 0 at the beginning of it, and this is something I do like to point out when it comes to zip codes, especially a lot of your CSV files, your spreadsheet will translate the number. So if we were to say, there we go. I had to make sure it was long enough. So if we were to say that was a zip code, a lot of them will drop the 0 off the front of it. I already changed the formatting on this one. But especially in Google Sheets, it's really easy to change the number formatting so it includes that 0 and doesn't automatically drop it off. You're just going to select that column right there, and you're going to click this number format right here. It's going to be similar in Excel and things like that. You're going to adjust your number formatting, and then you'll go in and you'll select your number format. We already have one here, but you could say custom number format, and then you'll just enter how many zeros it would include. So up to 5 generally for zip codes, and then you just apply it and it'll keep that 0 in there. Otherwise, it's going to take the 0 off the zip code, and that's still part of the zip code. So you do want to make sure it includes all of that in there. And then we'll just keep going through. You'll see there's an option to mark it if it's the mailing label. We do want to mark it as a mailing label. If it's not, we don't have to mark one as the mailing label. But of the addresses, again, only one can be marked as our mailing address. We can go through. There's up to 3 addresses. You can add in here. And then we get over here and we get to our tags. And this is where the comma separated values type, the CSV format, is important when it comes to tags, because you're going to separate any tags with commas. So if we want to go ahead and we want to tag this, then we'll add a second tag. And we generally recommend in imports that you add the import date. So we can say 0204. Adding the import date is going to allow you to filter your imports or filter your contacts with that import, so that if, heaven forbid, something were to go wrong with your import, or you needed to find all of the contacts imported here, you would be able to just search for that tag. So we do recommend adding that. You can add as many contact tags to a contact as you'd like, so it's not going to change any limits there or anything. It's just generally a good idea to add that in so you can go find that later on if you need to. So you can go ahead. The sources, you can add that in. Again, separate with commas if you have multiples. Any notes, again, also separate with commas if you have multiple notes you want to add to the contact. And then you can add in their social media links as well if you want those on those contacts. So you'll just go through and you'll add it for each of your contacts through here. So we're going to actually go ahead and we're just going to copy and paste these tags down here. So you can do that. You can just copy the tags multiple times if you want all of them tagged the same. That'll probably save you some time there to just copy and paste. And then as you get more in there, you'll be able to add more tags in. So once you go through and you've added all of your contacts in here that you want. Since I do have this in Google Sheets, I'm going to have to save it as a CSV file to import it. So I'm just going to go to File, and then I'm going to go to Download right here. And I'm just going to go down to this comma separated values or .csv, and it will download it right here. We're going to take a look as well at custom files, and then we'll take a look at importing both of those together so that we can jump through those. So we also have a custom file. So if you do not want to use that template, you can use your own custom file. You do want to make sure you have your headers right here. So if you have your first name, last name, phone number, tags, email address, you want the first row to always have your headers. It is important for importing. And then you can go through and you can fill it out. This way is going to be probably less work up front. The template tends to be more work up front, but it's more accurate. And when you actually go to import, it's less confusing. So you can go ahead and you can fill this out however you'd like. So we can say maybe it's an example. We can go ahead and we can add in that information through here. And then we'll do the same thing. Once we do that, you can add all of the columns you want here. So email address, tags, again, we can separate those with the comma, our phone number, first name, last name. First name, again, still is the only thing required to import a contact. So we can say, so we can add that in there, and then we can enter their phone number, tags, email address, or we can just add as many as we want. This one's going to be probably a little less work up front, and then we're just going to go to our file, and we're going to go, and I'm going to download this as a CSV, and there we go. So now we're going to go over to our contacts applet, and first we'll look at importing the template. This is where it gets easier to have it in a template. I'm just going to drag and drop the file here. You could also click that browse button to do it there, but I'm just doing it. It's a little easier this way. It's going to tell us our upload is complete. We can replace the file if we wanted to. We're going to go ahead and say continue. So then once we've done that, it's going to show us how those contacts are importing. So we can see the name imported properly, the email, the tags, and then it has all of the information we've put through here. And so we can see that it imports it properly through here. We can go over to all of our contacts. We can tab through all of them and see how they are importing right here. And then we'll just click finalize import. It's going to tell us they're being imported, so we can just return to contacts. It depends on how big your file is as to how long it will take, but you can just click refresh right here. Since mine's only 2, it should be done. So we'll give it a second here to load. There we go. And so we get a notification in our notification bell up here, whether it failed or imported successfully. So if it failed, you have the option to download the fail log right here. So I'm going to grab that. We can take a look at that. It's probably because I have a fake number in there. Give it a second to upload. So once you download that fail log, you'll be able to see the contact, and you can go scroll all the way over to the right, and it'll tell you why it failed. Again, phone number must be a valid number, so it did automatically sense that that was a fake number. Sometimes if you have a duplicate contact in your command, it will fail, but it's always going to tell you on that fail log why the contact failed to import. So you can go in and you can fix those mistakes, and you can re-import them if you'd like there. So we're going to go back. We're now going to go and look at importing our custom file right here. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to drag and drop that custom file we had. And this is where it gets a little more complicated to use a custom file. You're going to have to sit here and you're going to have to go through and map all of those columns. So you're going to have to scroll through. If you only have a couple, it's not as tricky, but when you have a large database and you have a lot of different fields on there, you have to go through and make sure that you have all of the matching fields. So your CSV columns. So we'll just go ahead and start grabbing those. So we have our first name. I'm going to say first name, last name, and then our phone number. You can skip it. That means it won't import that phone number. I'm going to skip it because that is a fake number and it's going to notice that. So hopefully it will still import it if we skip that. And then we can say our tags right here. So we can scroll down. We can also type and find those. And then our email address. We'll say primary email. And then we can just say continue. And then we're going to see right here how those pull through. So we have the email tags. It's going to be the same where we'll go through and review all of those for the contacts we have. And we'll just say finalize import. Return to contacts. Same thing. We'll just refresh. And it'll give us a notification on whether it was complete or not. There we go, and we'll see it was successful since we did skip that fake number. I will say when it does fail, which we looked at that failed import, it just showed one contact on the fail log. It'll successfully import every other contact. It'll just skip the ones that fail, but it won't fail the entire import. So I think that can be a little confusing, but it does only fail the certain ones. It won't fail your whole import. So just to clarify that one. And then one other way we can add contacts to our command database is just going to be going through and creating them individually, manually. You'll just click create contact in the top right corner. And it's going to pop this up. There's a bunch of fields. Again, only required field is a name. So full name, and you can just have first name, but we can go ahead and we can say, our name. You can add relationships, so you can add one relationship up here. You can add multiple further down in your contacts, but this one is really going to be your primary relationship, and you'll be able to go through and access that contact through this contact card, which I'll show you in a second, but we'll just select a contact through here. So we'll go that one, and then we can go down and we can say our primary email right here, so we can enter that in. If we have it, otherwise it's not a required field. Same for phone number. We can select our lead source. So the lead source is going to be, if that contact is still a lead, where we heard about this person, where we met them, where we received their lead. So if they came through from a specific website, we can select our lead source here, and we can go through. Maybe we got their contact from another agent. They called in. Which I just saw, there we go. Call in, community events. So we can go through and mark what kind of lead they are, and we can mark them as a lead. Lead is going to be basically the step before they are a contact. So it's going to be where you have their information, but you haven't reached out and made contact with them, and then they would become a contact. But we can mark it as a lead, and then we'll be able to mark it as not a lead later. If you got this lead from another one of your contacts, you can also select from your contacts, and you can select who the lead was. So we can say it was this person down here, and then we can go through. Again, we can add as many tags as we want. So we can either just scroll through and select them, or we can start typing whatever we want to do there. So we can say that one, and then we can say the fourth. And then you'll also have the option to create a new tag if that one is not already in there. And then you can select your tag color and create the tag. And we'll go ahead and add it to that tag or to that contact as you add it in, and you'll be able to use that tag on any other contacts that you want to use it for. Additional contact information, we can add their preferred method of contact, additional email, phone numbers. We can add in their primary address, so you can enter that in. You can add multiple addresses here. Again, you can select the same as mailing address right there. So then we'll go down, social profiles, you can add those in here. Under about, you can add more information about them, so a description, birthday, home anniversary, and here's where we can add more relationships to a contact and their company information. And then we get down to custom fields, and custom fields are a bit more fun. You can choose whatever custom fields you want. You can create your own. So it's just going to be a field for whatever additional information you like to include about the contacts. So for example, we have a couple here. So favorite pie, maybe you do pie giveaways. That's a pretty common one. And you want to include their favorite pie right here. You can do that. You can create a custom field. We can add more custom fields here. So you can go in and you can select any of your custom fields that you already have. You can see these are already in use, but we can say, you can do create as new, and then you can choose the field type, text field, text area, drop down date, any of those, and then you can just create the custom field right there. So These ones we've already set as default, and I'll show you how to do that when we get to more of those back end settings. But you can set it as a default custom field if you'd like. And then we would just create our contact, and it's going to bring us directly to the contact card. So we're going to take a look at this contact right here, what we have. So we can see we have our name, it's marked as a lead. We can mark it not as a lead. So that's up to you. I do see a comment in the chat actually about the leads. Someone said they think of contact as someone you know, but a lead is someone who's in the market. So am I saying it's the opposite? Everyone's a lead, but only if they're in the market, they become a contact. I may have said that wrong, sorry. I was trying to say very similarly to what you're saying is contact is someone you know, but a lead is someone, basically how I would view it is a lead is someone that I have their contact information. They're not necessarily in the market. They aren't only a lead if they're in the market, but generally someone that I haven't made contact with, I don't know them personally. And then as I get to know them, I would switch them to a contact. It is totally up to you and whatever you think works best for you, whatever the distinction is for you, it's totally up to whatever makes sense to you. Not everyone does that one the same way, but I may have said it wrong. So thank you for catching that. But yeah, so very similarly to what you were saying. I was not trying to say the opposite there. So anyway, back, of course. So anyway, back to our contact card here. Again, we can mark them as a lead or not a lead. You'll have this blue L next to their name if they are currently marked as a lead. Scrolling down, you'll see the lead source, all the information we just added in. So neighborhoods, and I did see a comment about neighborhoods earlier, so we're going to actually cover that right now. So when you add a contact address to a contact, it will automatically assign a neighborhood for them. So it's going to automatically assign their primary neighborhood based off of what you have as their mailing address here. If you don't have a mailing address, it's not going to assign a primary neighborhood, but you can manually add neighborhoods in here. You'll just click add neighborhood, and then you can search by neighborhood. So we can say, search by the city, and we can search through here and find whatever ones we want there, and we can add multiple neighborhoods here. We can also say find on map, and we can control and scroll in with our mouse, or you can just hit these zoom buttons here to go through and find those neighborhoods. So I don't know where I just zoomed into. There we go. So we'll go, since we have that one in Orlando, we'll go down to Orlando. You'll see more neighborhoods pop up the further in you scroll. So you can start grabbing multiple neighborhoods to add to a contact. And then we'll just click save right here. And you'll see all of those pop up here. And then you can also scroll through the neighborhoods you have right here. So with neighborhoods, when you do go to add them to a neighborhood nurture, it's going to pull from the neighborhoods you put on their profile. If they have a primary, it's going to automatically pull in that primary address or that primary neighborhood. But otherwise, you can go through and you can still assign however many neighborhoods you want to here. You can search for a location, or you can zoom in like I just did a minute ago. As you do that, some suggested neighborhoods are going to pop up right here. So you'll be able to choose the neighborhoods right here. Someone asked, can you assign a city? Let me see if you can, we'll try Orlando. I believe you do, there we go. I believe it has to be a neighborhood within that city. It's not going to pull in just the city, just since it is specific neighborhoods. So you'll go ahead and you'll go down here. You can copy this link right here so that it's going to be a preview for the neighborhood. So we can say preview right here, and it's going to pull it up, and you'll see it right here. So you'll see that neighborhood pull up that we've selected, and you can see the market summary and all of the stuff like that. When you do preview and copy this link, it's going to automatically pull up just kw.com. It's not going to show your branded link. If you want it to show your branded link, a quick workaround for that is you literally just manually adjust in your search bar. So you would just say, add your subdomain right there, and then you'll just hit enter. And you'll see it automatically update with your branding, your fonts and colors that you have set on your website. And then you can just copy and paste that link if you're trying to share the neighborhood information or neighborhood preview with someone from here. So you can do that, just a quick workaround there. Scrolling down, you'll see the neighborhood, or you'll see the additional contact information you've added in here. Any social profiles. We'll just keep scrolling down. And then under about, you're going to see those relationships that you added to the contact. It is a hyperlink right here, so we can click on that and it will take us directly over to our contact that we have the relationship marked with. So you'll be able to go through and go between those two contacts with this hyperlink right here. On the right-hand side, you're going to see this timeline right here. You can go through and you can filter by the timeline. So whenever, if you're looking for a specific time period of what happened in the last 7 days or last 30 days, or we have a custom date range that we want to select, we can go in and do that, and it'll filter. We can filter by the activity. So whether it is, we're looking for tasks, whether they were subscribed from a smart plan or email, we can clear all, and then we can go in and select just different ones here. So maybe we're looking for any emails or calls. Let me go down and we'll see. We have one. Subscribe to neighborhood, we'll go here. And then we'll be able to go and it'll adjust the filtering so you can see it popped up those neighborhoods that we just added them to. So we can go remove those. We can have all of them however we want. So you're going to see this AI summary here as well. Once you have 5 events on the contact timeline, you're going to get a summary of what happened. So on this one, you'll see we subscribed, client received saved search updates for several neighborhoods. So it's going to show all of the different neighborhoods we have right here. So again, once you have 5 events, you're going to get this AI summary. The more events you have, the more it will probably fill out the AI summary, since we only have the neighborhoods on this timeline. That's what's showing up here. We also have the option to add an activity. So this is if we wanted to track something that isn't going to automatically be tracked through command. So we have our interaction type. So maybe we met with them in person, that won't automatically show in our timeline. And then we can put the description. We can say grabbed coffee. And we can add the activity and we'll see that pop up right there. So you'll see that activity come through. Next, we have the option to go to our opportunities. We can see any opportunities that are linked to that contact. We can also create an opportunity directly through this contact card. I'm not going to go through this right now. We do have a class that covers opportunities. It's our opportunities and sales pipeline overview. You are more than welcome to check that out. We have a recording on our YouTube channel. I believe that is actually this Friday's class as well, if you're looking to join. You can see those opportunities right here. So any that are linked, you'll see right here. Next, we have our smart plans right here. So any smart plans that have been added to this contact, we're going to see those automatically populate right here. You're going to see that this one already has a smart plan on it. This is actually based off of our lead management rules, which again, we'll circle back to lead management rules closer to the end, but basically we have it set so that any contacts that come in with a specific tag, any contacts that are tagged with a specific tag are going to be started on this smart plan, and we'll walk through that a little bit more. But you have the option to go ahead and add them to an additional smart plan through here. You can remove them from a smart plan. So we can say we want them removed from that one, and then we'll see that update there. Tasks, any tasks that have been assigned to this contact or assigned to us that are linked to this contact, we'll be able to go access them right here. We can create more tasks, we can filter our tasks, or we can go ahead and mark them as complete. And then we have notes. We can add a notepad right here, and we can add as many notes to the contact as we want. And then we have saved searches. So if you are looking to set your contact up on a saved search, you'll just come to the saved search tab. You're going to click create saved search, and you will fill out this information. So the location, the city, so we can change, zip code, neighborhood, city, anything like that. We can find on the map right here, and then we can find our property criteria. We'll enter all of that in. Once we've filled out all of this with that information, we would click next. We'll add that in, and then we'll say, we can fill out whatever we want in there. Then we would click next. It's going to give us we're going to have our saved search title, and then we're going to confirm the primary email. And we can switch the email notifications on. So if they want it to be like a recurring saved search, you can set that up here. So once you fill all of that out, your saved search title needs to be added in, as well as the primary email. Once you have those, you're going to click create saved search. It's going to actually send an email to the email you've entered here, and it's going to ask them to confirm that they would like to receive these emails. So they'll have to do their confirmation on their end, and then they should be all set with those saved searches. After that, you'll be able to adjust the saved searches if you need to, but that's how you would get it set up here. We're going to go back to our contacts applet now that we've covered the full contact here. We'll go back out to our contact applet. And we'll kind of walk through what you are seeing right here. So we already looked at importing contacts, creating contacts. We have these 3 dots right here where we can check for duplicates among our contacts. That's going to pull in, we'll go ahead and do that. It's going to start scanning for duplicates. It can take a few minutes. We also have our contact exports right here. So when you do export contacts, you can export all owned contacts, export mailing labels, either in CSV or PDF. So you can export those. When you do click one of these export options, it's going to send an email to the KW Communications email that you have on file. It's going to send an email with a link. You'll click that link. You'll have 24 hours to click the link to download the file. If it's been more than 24 hours since you requested it, you'll just have to go in and request it again. Super simple. I'm going to go ahead and show you where you can find your KW Communications email so you can make sure you have that set up. You're going to click your name in the top right corner, and you're going to click My Profile. On the left-hand side, you'll click My KW, and you'll scroll down under Personal Information. You will see your KW Communications email. So you can edit that, make sure it's one you have access to, and that's where those export links would go to. So we'll go back to our contacts applet here. Back to contacts. All right, so that's in that top corner. We did run that duplicate search, so we can click, we'll see a new notification came in, and we have no pairs of potential duplicates, which is great. So if it did, it would tell us we had duplicates, and you would be able to go view them and have the option to merge the contacts from there. You can go in, you can search your contacts by first name, last name, email, mailing address, or all of the above. If you don't have all of the information or don't remember all of the information, you can search by what you do remember. There's also filters right here where you can go in and you can filter by the contact type. So again, we have those contacts versus leads. We can filter by those. Tags, you can filter by a bunch of tags through here. One of the great things about Command is that they do have filters for pretty much everything you can imagine when it comes to contacts. There's very few things that they don't have filters for here. So again, we can filter by tags. We can go through lead source, agent site connection. Agent site connection means whether they've connected with our website, they've created a consumer account on our KW agent site or our consumer app. So we can see if they're connected or not connected there. Any neighborhoods that they are a part of, we can search by the specific neighborhoods or say any neighborhoods or no neighborhoods. Recently active, when it was created, when it was last modified. These are going to be by time frames here. Last contacted, we can filter by what smart plans they are a part of. If they have a birthday, home anniversary, their company, primary contact information here. So we can filter by all of those. There is also advanced filtering here. So we can just click advanced, Advanced filtering is great, especially if you want to exclude a specific tag or something from your search. So maybe we're looking for contacts that are tagged with our class demo tag, but we want to show contacts that we don't want to show contacts that include our, let's see, we'll go with the demo tag one. So we'll just say add filter, and we'll select the field right here. So we'll go, I'm going to type it real fast. So we'll go with that, and then we'll just say excludes any, and then we can choose our tag. So we can say demo tag, we can select it, and we'll apply it, and we'll see it filters out those contacts that had the demo tag added as well. So advanced filtering is great. Filtering is great. We can switch back to basic filters. It'll remove any advanced ones we had. So filtering is awesome. There's also this thing called a smart view. And a smart view is basically going to allow you to view your contacts the same way. So if you are filtering, for example, we have our class demo right here, and that is the actual tag that we're filtering by. So this is only showing contacts with that tag that we have here. We have it already set in our filters, but we can create multiple smart views. So we can go to all contacts and we would see all of our contacts in here, even the ones that don't have that class demo. But then we can switch right back over to view that filtered list without having to go through and reset our filters every single time. If you make changes, for example, if you are adding more columns to it, maybe we want to show our favorite candy, and we want to put that up at the very top. Then we would see that go in right here. And we can save our smart view changes so that when we do come back, it's going to be sorted the same way that it was before. So we have that option. We can go toggle that back off if we want to. So you'll see all of that. Beyond that, we have options to go in and select multiple contacts at a time. Down at the bottom, you can choose how many contacts you're showing at a time. You can show up to 500 per page. It usually defaults to 10. That's another setting that can be changed with your smart view. So it can be automatically set to show as many contacts as possible. Once you select those contacts, you're going to see a hidden action menu appearing at the bottom, and this is going to be our bulk action menu. So we can add tags to all of these contacts at the same time. We can add all of them to a smart plan, add notes to all of them, send an email to all of them, archive all of them at the same time. More options, we can add activities, change the account, export those specific contacts, so anything like that. So we have a bunch of options in here, even more than when we just have none selected. You can also click these three dots and you'll be able to do the same activities for individual contacts here. I do see a question about how to delete a contact. To delete contacts in Command, it's a two-step process to make sure that you are sure you want to delete the contact. So you would just select the three dots next to it and you would just click archive right here. It's going to ask if you're sure. Once it's been archived, you are going to have to delete it from the archive, and we'll go look at the archive in just a second here. Actually, we'll go ahead and we'll go look at our back end settings. Pretty much covered that here. Another way to archive those contacts, you can actually do it within the contact. Click these three dots. You can add it to a smart plan. If you're on a team, you can change the account it's worked in, or you can archive the contact directly through here as well. But now we're going to look at some of those back end settings, including our contact archive. So to that, we're going to click our name in the top right corner, and we're just going to click settings right here. And under command settings on the left-hand side, under contacts, we have a couple options here. So we have our contact archive, and we'll see that we've already archived that contact. That's the one we just archived. And from there, you can either restore the contact, so add it back to your database, or you can delete the selected contact permanently. You can't restore it once you have deleted it. So just be sure you want to actually delete it when you do. We're going to go ahead. I'm actually going to restore that one. You'll see it gray out when you either delete or restore it. You'll just click refresh and it should clear from your archive. So then we also have our database wipe button right here where you can archive all of your contacts at the same time. And then you can delete all of the contacts from the archive also at the same time. Please be very careful when you are doing this. Once you've deleted all of those contacts from the archive, you cannot restore them. If you are planning to clean up your database and you want to archive and delete all of them, I strongly recommend that you export those contacts first, just to make sure you have a copy of all of that information before you go ahead and archive and delete it, should you ever need any of that information again. That way you still have a backup of it. Contact tags, we can go and see any of those tags that we've created here. So we can see the tag name and what the tag was created by. So any that were created by us, we have the option to edit or delete. Any that were created by the system, we cannot edit or delete those. So the system tags are going to stay here. They can't be deleted. But we can create a tag through here. It's going to be the same process as when we were creating a contact. So you can go in, you can choose your contact name. So we can, or our tag name. Do that, and then you can go select the color of the tag, and then you would just create the tag right there. Then you would be able to see all of your tags. You can show up to 100 at a time, but we can see all of those right here. So you can see the one we just created, you'll see the date it was created and things like that, and then you can also edit them if you'd like. Next, we have our lead management, which we talked about a little bit ago, where we can create rules on how what happens to those leads when they do come into command. So we can set our rule title right here. So you can fill this out. So lead sources. The lead sources are going to be fairly general. So a contact form on your site, it would just be any of the contact forms, not any specific one. But you can do that. So we can say, when we do get a lead from the contact form on our site, we can have them auto tagged through with one of these tags through here. We can have them automatically assigned to a smart plan that we can pick through here. And then we would just create the rule and it would go into effect through there. We have lead sources here where we can go manage those lead sources. So we can create custom sources if we'd like. But there are a bunch already created by the system. Again, same thing here. Any that are created by the system can't be edited or deleted, but you can create a new custom source if you'd like to there. Database cleanup. This is where we would be able to check for duplicates. So we can check for duplicates. It'll scan our contacts and we'd be able to merge those here. We can also see the merge history of any contacts that we have merged, what contact they were merged, merge details and things like that through there. And then we have custom fields right here where we can go in and we can edit the fields we've created. This is where we would set if they were default, if they automatically show up on the contact. And you'll just click the edit pencil and you can make it default or non-default. You can change the name, create more custom fields. Have a bunch of options in there. And then finally, we have this section down at the bottom, the My Logs section. And we can see our import logs. We'll see the status, the date the import was completed, how many contacts were imported, how many failed, and how many total contacts were on the spreadsheet. And then you'll be able to go in, you can download the original file, and you can also download the error file here that we looked at earlier. So you can know that if any of them fail, you can go download that file and view them there. You can also view your export logs right here. So you can see any that were completed, the dates they were completed, how many contacts were exported at that time, et cetera, et cetera. Alrighty, so that really covers what we have for our contacts. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wrap up the recording and I'm gonna get to the questions in the chat. If you have more questions, you can go and drop them in the chat. I see a bunch of them. I'm gonna go through those now. If you're not sticking around for questions, thank you for joining me. I hope this was very helpful for you, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.